Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to VAC. I'm Carly Merrill, and I'm the marketing specialist here at VAC. And with me, I have Scott Kratz, our general manager. And today we have Wayne Fleming, our owner. Last week we covered the V200 external feedback options. We did some installation procedures as well as calibrations. This week we're going to be discussing the modularity of the V200. So as everyone gets logged on, we'd love to see who we have with us. So drop your name in the right-hand side in the chat bar and just say hello. And while we wait on some people, we're going to talk about just some of our links that are in the description of this video. We have our website linked. There you can find all of our products, technical tips, technical videos. You can also find our contact information on our website. And make sure you follow our LinkedIn account and our Facebook account and stay updated on those.
Hello and welcome. I'm Wayne Fleming. Very happy to be with you guys. Appreciate you joining us. Scott Kratz and I are going to be working together to kind of step you through the modularity, as we call it, of the V200. Not only the products that are available through modularity, but also the benefits that you receive and can be utilized by taking advantage of modularity. And there's benefits in each step. Here at VAC, we utilize modularity a lot and able to ship products quicker, service better, and you can do the same thing at the distributor level. At the end user level, the modularity really helps you as far as maintenance, because it's easy to replace components that need to be replaced or change a product from, say, a standard E to an explosion proof. You don't have to remove the positioner from the valve. You can simply add the explosion proof module. So we're going to start off very basic. We have mounted here on this rack and pinion actuator a pneumatic positioner. Has just strictly a pneumatic position with a plug. So it will have a 3 to 15 signal, and we're going to convert it quickly to a V200E. Scott's going to help me. So we'll remove the cover of the V200. I'll point out the location. Here's the pneumatic plate right here. This will come out.
With the I2P filter, the I2P insulation kit, you'll get 3 components. You'll have the I2P, a sticker, and a plug.
So we've now added the I2P, we've added the stainless steel plug in the P port, and we would send 24 volt power source and a 4 to 20 milliamp signal to the I2P converter. It's that simple to convert a unit from a P to an E or vice versa. If for some reason you need to go back to the P, we're still amazed as to how many P's we sell. So there's a lot of those out there. But this is a simple step in converting it to an E. Now, instead of removing this, what we're going to do, well, let's take that top plate out, and we'll show how this is a V200EX explosion proof model. It's made by our partner ABB, But to adapt this to the V200, you have an adapter plate that connects into the port of the explosion-proof IDP. There's holes on the top that are pre-drilled and set for the 2 screws. Supply air from your supply port will feed through the positioner into the IDP and feed the external IDP. So if we have to cover back on this with an indicator, and by the way, it's modular again with either this or a beacon indicator. So if you wanted to put a beacon in, you could. But this cover would go back on, and you've got an explosion proof. And an example could be that the customer ordered a V200E, they got it out into an area classification that required an explosion proof. And instead of having to change the whole positioner, they could just change the IDP and add this module to it. The other options, we have 3 other external options. We have what's called a fail freeze IDP, which on loss of signal, the unit fails in place electronically, not pneumatic, electronic fail in place. As you can see, it has a similar plate to this and would also adapt the same way as the explosion proof. The other unit, or the third unit, is a 0 to 10 volt unit. This is a 4-wire device, but again, similar plate, identical mounting, used quite a bit in the building automation industry, but it's available on one of the few people I know that even offers a 0 to 10 volt out of P converter. The 4th style is a unit where the customer needs to run natural gas as his operating medium. And we have a unit that is natural gas approved. It's got a long potted connection, and this would adapt right to here, just like this, and you could run natural gas through the actuator, through the positioner, even into the IDP. It's rated for natural gas, and it's explosion proof. So those are the modules when we're talking about IDP converters. The other things that we have that are very modular are feedback units. We've talked a little bit in the calibration about 4 to 20 feedback, switches, both mechanical and proximity switches. And I don't want to go without mentioning another form of modularity, and that is all our ability to use different spindles, different mounting kits, and to adapt this one positioner to hundreds of different, if not thousands, of different actuators. So that's a modular feature. Last but not least is certainly the pilot valve. If you find yourself either overshooting and hunting, you're having trouble calming down the system, you may have too much airflow. So you may want to go to a low bleed, lower airflow unit. And just the opposite on a big actuator. A big actuator is moving slow. You can change to our high flow pilot. And all of these things can be done very simply and with the unit mounted either in your shop or out in the field by the customer. So in this case, modularity saves you inventory costs, time from your assembly people, and saves you money by maximizing the dollars you invest in VAC products. For the customer, the biggest thing that I think they're looking for is time and ease of converting. You show a customer that he can convert a standard E or This also comes in as an IS unit, and sometimes they get the IS and the EX area classifications wrong. And so he's got an IS unit, but he's got to have an EX unit. It's just a matter of installing, removing this, installing that. When you do install the external unit, it won't have the IDP cover. It will have this little pneumatic plate in here. So that will then send the air into the unit. We stock all of these components. We ship, as most of you know, usually same day or within 48 hours. And we think that the modularity of the V200 is a real advantage and a real plus to us, to you, and to the industry in general. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, guys, we're having a few were this last week. You saw we experienced a little technical issue with our camera. This week we're having a little trouble accessing the live chat. So if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. Drop us your email. We'll get to you and we'll answer your questions best we can. Fortunately, we can't do it right now because we're having some issues with that, but we're going to go ahead and, if you've got questions, make sure you ask them and we'll get an answer to you.
We appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning into these series. We're going to continue. We'll send out the announcement early next week about the next series. And hopefully this is beneficial to us, especially during these times. And y'all take care, stay safe, and God bless. Thank you.
We actually do have a question before we go, and that question is coming from Joe Maskery. And he's asking about the IS unit and would like to know if that IDP is inside or an external IDP.
Yes, good question, Joe. Thank you. The IS unit, you need to be careful. These area classifications you have to look at very carefully. But we spell out on our brochure, in our literature, which one is IS and which one is explosion proof, and there's a fine line. But if it is in fact an IS unit, it will look very similar to this. It will be an internal unit. So it will not be an external unit. It would be an internal unit.
Now, in addition to that, the ABB EX IDP is you can use it as an IS unit. It's not required to use the ABB external unit for intrinsic safety, but we can have the option of either.
And the safety of that is then you don't worry. Then the customer doesn't worry. Am I in an IS unit, area, or EX area? With this, he's safe. He's got both covered. But if you only need IS, you can save a few dollars, and it is an internal IDP.
Okay, thank you all for coming out today and logging in and watching these videos. Next week, we are going to have another video next Tuesday at 1:30 again. We're going to be discussing some troubleshooting stuff, so make sure you log on there. We'll post a link and send out another email so you guys can stay connected there. And we're going to play another little game like we did last week. So the first question is, does the V200E have to be removed from the valve assembly to be converted to a V200EX? Now I'll ask it one more time, and you can drop your answers in the chat. Does the V200E have to be removed from the valve assembly to be converted to a V200EX? Okay, and we've gotten our answer from David at SDH, and he says no. That's correct.
And that's a real advantage because the time is, especially if it's hard tubed, it takes you twice as long to remove the positioner as it does just to convert from an E to an EX or to a fail-free to any other thing. So that's correct, Dave.
That is a large part of this video, is us wanting to inform you on the fact that once this housing is mounted to an actuator, there are many different configurations this positioner can become without removing the housing by simply changing components, whether it's the spool valve, the cam, the IDP, a bunch of different options are available without ever having to remove the position.
Okay, we're going to do one more. The first person to list the benefit of the V200 modularity will be our winner. One benefit of the V200's modularity. Okay, Scott, if you want to, you can go ahead and talk a little bit about the benefits. Just kind of state those again.
Wayne was probably better off.
Okay. I would, it's hard to say A, B, and C because they're so close together. But I would say the biggest thing is time. Time, say you're in your shop and you've got 10 units already mounted, V200 ready to go. The customer calls and says, "Oh, by the way, those are supposed to be E's." You've got them mounted and ready to ship. You don't have to pull the positioner off the valve assembly. You just take the P and convert it to an E. Same thing out in the field. A customer's in an area where all of a sudden he realizes that if he loses a signal, this valve has to fail in place no matter what. Well, then it's just a matter of taking this module, sending it to him, and he can mount it on the positioner in the field. And in a plant, time is money, and sometimes big money. If they're down for 10 minutes, it's one thing. If they're down for an hour, it's a whole lot different thing. So this is a 5 to 10 minute change out versus the whole unit. So I would say the biggest advantage is time, and then time equals money and savings. So that's what I would leave.
Okay, I think that's all that we have today. So make sure you tune back in next Tuesday at 1:30, and we'll be discussing some troubleshooting. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you there.